Good morning. So what we are going to do now is take a look at GIMP. Okay, how many of you all know what is an image? Let us start from the basics. What is an image? So is an image two-dimensional or three-dimensional? How many say two-dimensional? Yeah, okay, so about four, five say two. So all others agree with three-dimensional? Okay, what is the third dimension? You can say X and Y there, right? Where is Z? Is there a Z? Yeah. How many say again now? Same question. How many say image is two-dimensional? How many of you think it's three-dimensional? How many say two-dimensional? Please put your hand up after looking at the image. So others are still saying third dimension. Then I want to know what's the third dimension. Okay, all of you all understand dimensions, right? What is one dimension? What is it starts with a point. A point sweeps around along an axis, you get one dimension from a point, right? That same line sweeps across the next axis, you get a plane, which is two-dimensional. And that plane, when it is extruded, you get the third dimension along the z-axis. And then there is a fourth dimension, of course, which we can't see, which is called time. So what is an image? Two-dimensional or three-dimensional? Now people are saying four-dimensional. Okay, if you see it as it is, it's two-dimensional, but there is another dimension to it. And whatever we are doing, okay, in GIMP is basically working mostly with the third dimension. Okay, the third dimension is a dimension. I'll show it to you in GIMP only so that you'll understand what the third dimension. I'll just open the image here. Can you see this? Okay, that's what refers to the third dimension. I'll show you one more way of doing it, looking at the things. Here it will show you much better. Can you see this? And here the third dimension has got multiple values. Okay, so what we are going to discuss basically is until the time you understand the third dimension of an image, okay, it is may be difficult to understand what you do with GIMP and how it is related to computer science. So what the third thing is pretty simple. Okay, think of an image as buckets kept in a row and in columns. Okay, there are buckets. So what happens with that bucket? Every bucket, okay, something is filled in it to certain level. So in one bucket it will be say 10, one bucket it is going to be 20, third bucket 30, fourth bucket 40. Okay, and these buckets, the amount of color or other things which are there, which I am going to show you all, will define what is going to be that one pixel value. Okay, so it's a collection of pixels, vertical as well as horizontal, or in two-dimensional basically, and every pixel, okay, you can consider it to be a bucket. So that's why you have got some concept of 8-bit image. Okay, then you have got 32-bit image. Heard about it, right? Okay, if you see here, you'll come to know it's a 8-bit. What do you mean by 8-bit? I am doing right from the basics so that you understand, when we go to GIMP, it should not be something alien. Which is better, 8-bit image is better or 32-bit image is better? Why 32? So it is per pixel is storing more data, right? So that's the vertical I am talking about. So every pixel has got an byte or a number of bytes associated with it. Okay, 8-bit is 1 byte. So when you take 8-bit image, it's just 1 byte associated with that 1 pixel. When we go on extending it, so we have more data on that every pixel. Okay, I'm not going to go into details, but things have gone much more further. We call it logarithmic saving. where there is a mathematical function which defines what is there in that particular bucket. So we'll not go into details of how the image is stored and things like that, but understand that image, whatever you are going to do here in GIMP, okay, will not only be on 2-dimensional, but will also be on the 3rd dimension. So when we do things like masking, when we do things like blending or background removal, all these things we are working on the 3rd dimension. When we are doing scaling, okay, or rotation, we are working on the 2 dimensions. Okay, are there any questions or all are clear about the concept of an image? Yeah, then there is one more thing to remember. What is a image format? You have JPEG, BMP, PNG. Yeah, JPG is there. GIF. Is there any difference here? What is the difference? No, GIF may or may not be animated. In what sense do you mean size of an image? No, storage, I can take a JPEG image and make it big. My PNG can be smaller than my JPEG can be smaller than my PNG. It will all depend. No. No. That will depend upon what settings you have taken for compression. No, vectors are separate. SVG, CDR are all vectors. No, this is because there was a point which Saish raised saying that why GIMP was included and not something like Paint. The reason is because of all this computational part that comes in GIMP which does not come up in Paint. Okay, kids may not know all these details, but you as teachers should know, because there may be a kid who may ask you, why this? Why PNG? Why not JPEG? Or why JPEG? Why not PNG? No, saving with layers are there separate formats. Yeah, PSD is with layers. Then there is this format which GIMP stores, that is also layers. So there are formats which store layers. Yeah, it is portable network graphics. So it was developed for the web, but why? And you have been using PNG, JPEG for a long time, right? Yeah, internally, yes. Yeah, so I have given a hint now. He is very close to the answer. Yeah. It all depends upon the application that you are using. Like if you send by WhatsApp, WhatsApp is it will change the resolution. So by the time it reaches the user, it will remove certain things. So yeah, compression is something you can manage. Yeah, PNG supports transfer. So what is the difference? Yeah, but there is one reason, right? Okay, understand it in the other way. Will you use a knife, okay, to plow a field? Will you use a knife to plow a field? Is the question. Why not? You can, right? Is it not possible to plow a field with a knife? Lot of time, lot of effort. Yeah, maybe it will start this rain and it will end up the rains of 10 years after that, this thing. So all these things will happen, right? So every file format has got its usage, okay, and that is decided by what are the features that that particular format allows. That's why I said it was very close, because it's algorithmic. It's basically an algorithm that actually is built in such a way that it stores, and JPEG cannot store transparency data, but a PNG will store transparency data. That's why you will get a transparent PNG or a transparent image using PNG, which is not possible with a JPEG. Okay, certain things which are there with TIFF, like if you are actually next, I think it is in 8th standard, when you will be going for video editing, that time you have to use something called a TIFF format. Okay, so each format has got an usage. It's not that you can use any format anywhere. Okay, so whenever you are downloading also from the internet or somewhere, I'll show you a website from where you can download. Okay, do not go to Google and download any image. Okay, this is one thing which you have to note down. So there is a website called as Pixabay, pixabay.com. Can you see it? Make an account on pixabay.com. It's free. All these images you can use from Pixabay. Okay, there are no copyright issues for the images that you download from Pixabay. When you go to search, there are multiple options, like what is that you want, image you want, or you want to download something else, what is the size of that image that you are looking for. So there are multiple things, and you can search on the image that you actually require. And you can select from images, photos, or vector graphics, illustrations. There are videos also recently introduced, but there are a lot of these things that you can use from Pixabay. And you don't have to pay, it is free. And second is there are no copyright issues. Okay, so nobody is going to catch your neck for using this image. So whatever you want to use, you can use from Pixabay. Okay, you can search for backgrounds also. There will be a huge collection that you are going to get. Yeah, and you can, when you go to download, you can select what resolution you want to download it at. Okay, even now, whatever images that you want to use, okay, you can, if you're connected to the internet, you can directly go to this website. I'm not logged in, so without logging also you can get, but it's always better you create an account because you keep track of what you are downloading. Yeah, all these things are completely free. So I'll just save this image also. I'm using a low resolution thing here. And you open the image in the same way like you go to open. Let me explain the interface to you first. You know what this is, right? Yeah, this is Jim. This is what you get. What are these? These are called the tools that you have here on top. All of you opened it on your laptops? Okay. So when you take it on the small arrow here, okay, you'll find that there are some more tools also sometimes. Here there is a rectangle and there is an ellipse also. Okay, so there are two tools here. So there is a small arrow which is there. Don't take your mouse there. And you will get to see the other tools that are there. Okay, so there are multiple tools. Here you have got, whenever suppose I select the brush, all the properties of the brush you can see down here. So these are the properties of that brush. Okay, what is the size, what is the aspect ratio of that, what is the angle that brush is stroking at. So there are a lot of these parameters that are there, which you can adjust. So every tool will have its properties which will be coming down here. Okay, similarly you can select that, if I selected the brush, I can select the type of the brush here. Now this is the type of the brush that is there. I can also make a star brush. I can make a brush that looks like a feather. I can make a brush that looks like the sun. Okay, so these are the different brushes that I have that I can use. Or I can have this logo, the GIMP logo as a brush. Select that, click once, and I get that thing on the canvas. Okay, we'll come to that later. Then these are layers here, and then there are two more things. There is a channel and there is a path. So there are three tabs here: layers, channel, and paths. Okay, similarly below the layer you have got options here, buttons. Create a new layer, create group of layers, move the layer up and down, then duplicate a layer, merge a layer. So all these icons are down here. If you take your mouse there, okay, you can actually see that those things are there down. Okay, can you see this? Take a look on your laptops if you cannot see them clearly from here. Okay, similarly on top you will find that under everything there is image, there are options. Under layers there are options, colors there are options, tools there are options, filters. Okay, so if you go to see, it has got a lot of features packed in here. As far as the syllabus goes, we have kept it limited to just masking, blending, and rotation and transformation and those operations on a particular image. Okay, but lot of things to explore, and we'll try to explore some more once we finish like whatever is expected of the syllabus. So if you're interested in knowing more, we'll also try to do that. So what we'll do is I'll just try to open this image first. Okay, control and the mouse, the wheel, zoom in, zoom out. Press control on the keyboard, yeah. Okay. All of you have images, right? Open any image. Okay, if you don't have an image, you can go to Pixabay and download whichever image you want. You just require any one or two images. There is no this thing in what image you select. How many of you are trying to work without a mouse here? Going to be slightly tricky, but you can try. You can use any image that you have for the present on your laptop. Okay, all have opened the image. Yeah, so control and the scroll, zoom in, zoom out of the image. Try it out. Okay, so suppose you zoom in, how will you move? One way is you can take it to the scroll bar here and move, but it's a very tedious way of doing things. Every time you have to move to the edge and do this. Best option is, okay, if you have got the move tool selected, press the space bar and you can move the image. So it's zoomed. I have zoomed it here now. I press the space bar and I can actually move the image. But provided it will not work with all the tools. It will work with the pen tool, it will work with this move tool. Okay, so you can, if you want to move this image now, then you can press the space bar, just move the mouse, okay, do not click, just move the mouse and you can actually move the image. And again press Ctrl and zoom out. Yeah, with the trackpad I do not know how it is to be done, so I can't help those people who are not using the mouse. Okay, once you do this, all I've done, tried both the moving and zoom in and zoom out. Okay, next thing what we'll do is, with an image open, suppose there are two ways of doing it. You can file open as a layer. Okay, there is an option, open as a layer. That means I want to create one more layer over this and I want to get a peacock over this background image. Okay, so what I can say is open as a layer. It will ask me what I want to open. I say I want to open the peacock image. And you see it will be a layer. You can see the two layers there now. So you have got a background and you have got the peacock over it. So it's not opening a separate file for me. What it is doing is it is creating a new layer and opening that file in that layer. Do you want me to repeat this? Okay, let me delete the layer. Go to File, Open as a layer, and select the peacock, the next file basically, whichever file you want to use, the next second file. Just say Open. And it will open as a separate layer. Okay, done till here. Now what you have to do is, work with the blending options. Now you can see there is a mode here, and next to the mode you will find a drop down with normal there. Now these are blending modes for layers. Okay, what is blending? How many of you have seen children painting with crayons? Those who have kids at home, you all must have seen, the first thing what do they do when they want to mix two colors? Can you see the video here?
Hi, it's Lee from ColouringQueen.net, and today I thought we would talk about something that most homes have, which full-time thing, just like every now and again you want to, sit down and just have a bit of a colour and, enjoy yourself. They're also great if you're on a budget because, most packs of crayons can be bought really cheap. I've actually got quite a few packets of crayons because I bought them after the back to school sales. The shops always tend to order too much stuff, so just like we would normally use a white pencil, and you can see all I'm doing is pressing a little bit firmer than what I
You can see the blending happening,
and I'm just really basically trying to push down the tooth on the paper and cover up the little white bits.
In this video what that person is showing is 3 ways of blending crayons.
White crayon or white pencil.
Okay, this is
done.
I just want you all to understand what is blending.
Push too hard, which because of the wax content.
You see, it's trying to mix the two colors to get a right blend out of it and things like that. So within image, okay, that options which are there for layer blending usually does something similar to this.
And often once you've already burnished it, so push down on it, you can't really add more colour often with pencils, etc. So you'd have to come back in to get that same sort of vibrancy again if you use the colours, like the Gamsol is taking out.
See this using a earbud to blend.
On the purple.
Okay, those who have kids at home must have seen that they use most of these techniques. Those who actually are doing painting.
Theoretically, you can colour up all these things just with the stuff that you might have already lying.
Okay, this was just to show you like what is blending. Yeah, so if you click on this, you'll find that there are multiple modes which they have given up for blending. And you can use the arrow key and change the mode. You can see with every mode, see the blending happening. Okay, I'm just changing the modes and show you the blending between the two layers or two images. You can try this out, try the various options and see what you are going to get. Select the top layer, because the top layer, when you change the mode, it will blend with the lower layer. Okay, each one of these here is one mathematical operation. Each of these is actually an function that is called, it's all mathematical. I am not going to go into details of, I can share a link with you that gives you the details of every one of these, the formula basically. Try it out. Okay, all have tried all the modes. Fine. So what I am going to do is, you will find that there is a button here to duplicate. Okay, so I am clicking on the top layer, the peacock layer, and duplicating it. Okay, so you'll have two layers with the peacock image on it. In your case, select which is the top image and duplicate the layer. And if you have changed the mode, click on the lower layer and set the mode to normal again. Okay, those who have actually changed the mode of the lower layer of the peacock, okay, set it to normal. Now both the top layers now should be normal. The mode should be normal. Do not keep the changed modes. This was just for you to experiment. Okay, now what I am doing is clicking on the topmost layer. I am changing the mode to difference. Everybody getting this? This is what you should get. Everybody will get this. Why? Now the question is why? Why is it becoming black? See what I said, see both were normal and this was what you were seeing, right? I clicked on the topmost layer, both these layers are same. I clicked on the topmost layer, went to the mode, made it to difference. And this is what I got. Okay, so see the name, it's called difference. So what is it? A minus B. It's for A minus B. You understand A minus B, right? If A is 10 and B is 10, what's the answer? Okay. So each pixel value now from the top layer is minus from the bottom layer. What do you get? 0. 0 is black. Okay, so this was an example so you understand that every one of these blend modes, okay, is a formula. Difference is A minus B. Minusing one image from the second image. Since both the images are the same, you get a black image, you get 0. Okay. If you want to see this thing, what you can do is click on the top layer and just move it. See what you get. Move the top layer slightly. Select on the move tool, that's the first tool here where you see the arrows in two directions, and move the top layer. Something gets visible, right? Because the value of A and B has changed. Okay, if you take them as two variables, on the top layer it's a and down b, then since the value has changed, now it's no more 0. Okay, that's why you are getting something there. Okay, repeat it one more time. This is what you are going to get. I am just moving the top layer slightly. Something gets visible. One word that is used for when we do things like this is called undestructive editing. Okay, I am not destroying the image is still there, but I am just working on the values. That's why I said we are working on the third dimension, that is the values that each of the bytes or the bits or the bit things has. Okay, so we have not touched the image in any way, we are just looking at the answer of it. Simple mathematics, right? So each one of these filters which you see here, okay, they are called filters also, the blending modes that you have, has got a mathematical formula associated with it. Okay, kids need not know what the formula actually is, but whatever they are doing here is actually mathematical operations. Okay, which software like Paint do not allow them to do. And there may be one kid who may come and ask you, hey, kasha jata? Or why, how does this happen? Then you should know the formulas. Okay, it's very rare, only few kids do come and ask, like, why does this thing happen? And then that's why I showed you one example. Why it happens? It happens because there is a mathematical formula there. It's mathematics between A and B. One layer and the second layer. If you have got multiple layers, it becomes A plus B plus C plus D or whatever, or A minus B plus C plus D. There is n number. So suppose if I duplicate this one more time and I give it something like, you see it's changed again, because now it's ABC, 3 variables. And the operation between these two layers, A, B, is difference, and the second and third layer is pin light. I can add one more layer. Yeah, if they are different images, then also it will be different, because now a value of A is different, B is different, C is different, D is different. So you can blend 4 layers, you can blend 5 layers. It's basic mathematics. Just remove this. Okay, so that's how you can play around with this blend modes. Now what I'll try to do is say, this image if you have seen here, suppose I can blend it with that, plus I can keep, so I'll duplicate this, and this here you can hide it, okay, layer hidden, layer visible, the eye is there. So I can make the layer visible and hide it. So I'll hide this, and on this I'll put a blend, a normal, I'll take a okay, so this is there, and once I make the top layer visible, you'll find that. Okay, so because see the operation is not on the third one now. The operation is between the 2 layers which are there at the bottom and not on the top layer. So when I make it visible, it's on top. So understand it like layering, paper on top of paper on top of paper on top of paper. Okay, the top paper is visible. Okay, you can't see what is there behind it. But if they are blended, that means the paper is not, that it has got opacity or something, or a transparent paper, then you can see what is behind, right? So that is what basically the filters are doing. Okay, there is an operation that happens there, which actually a mathematical operation that does this blending. Okay, so this is one lesson plan that you have, blending modes. And within blending modes, again you can do I can rotate this, and I can do a lot of these operations to get different effects. So we can try that also here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll scale. Scaling is much more visible if I do it on Okay, what I am doing, the top image I am scaling. I have scaled it. So there is an option called scaling. Scaling is to resize. Okay, so this is, if you all have found that option of scale, click on this and then there will be multiple options coming down there. Scale tool, and then there are a lot of type of scales there. Rotate is there, shear, flip, perspective, 3D transform. Okay, what we are using is, right now is I am using the scaling tool, and you can actually click on it and zoom in, like scale it. This is making it bigger, making the image smaller. Yeah, no, because you could not find scale, I am just saying you can go to edit, go to preferences. There is a preference option here. Then you can go to toolbox, and in toolbox there is a option there, use tool groups. It's checked by default. Uncheck it, and you will get all the tools which are there. So you don't have to hunt for tools, clicking on the small arrow there. All could do this? Okay. So now this is simpler, right? Now you got, this is an scale tool, this is a rotate tool, this is a shear tool, so you can get all the tools here now. So none of the tools are hidden. Okay, so what I am doing is selecting the scale tool and the topmost layer. Now this works, understand something, this will work per layer, okay? So I am scaling doesn't mean it scales the image, it only scales the layer that is selected. So if I say scale, if you see here, the other layers are the same size. This is the scale layer on top. So whatever operations that you are doing is happening on a layer and is not happening on the entire image. You can similarly try the rotate tool also. This, yeah, fine. I'll just let me. Okay, so I am clicking on the layer that I want to scale. You can do the scaling on any layer by the way. So what I am doing is I am clicking on the topmost layer, and I want the peacock to be bigger. Okay, I click on the scale tool, and I click on this thing, and if I go down, it will become smaller. If I go the other side, it's going to become bigger. So it depends upon what you want to do, scale up or scale down. Okay, do that, click on scale, and you will find it becomes bigger. You can use this double arrow or move tool and move the peacock within the canvas. Okay, in your case, you can do it with whatever image you are working with. So this is an option where you can scale. And like I said, it is only working on layers. It is not working on the entire image. So your image size will not change. Only that layer, the size in that layer is going to change. Clear to everyone? Okay, similarly you can use the rotate tool also. Okay, everybody has got this? Yeah, so we have got about 4 minutes left. If there are any questions, because post lunch we'll work on 2 more things. One is masking, and second is creation of an artwork using basic forms. Yeah. You can turn it, you can do whatever you want on it. The best part is it works only on that particular layer. Second important thing is it doesn't change the original image. Okay, your original, suppose I say Control S to save. All of you know, right? Control S is to save. Control S will not overwrite that image. it will create, you can try this out, try saving it. Okay, and it will save as a XCF file, which is storing the data of the layers. The format that GIMP uses is XCF. Okay, and I'll save it so that we can use it later also again. It's a XCF format that it uses. Yeah, so what we are doing in this case is we are doing layer-wise operations. Was this possible with the tool that you were using earlier, Paint? Okay, this is because of the default here. Your image is only this much. Whatever is outside is not part of the image.